Okay, so for 2-7, we're going to start proportions today. So there are multiple ways that you can do proportions. I'm going to show you both, and then you're going to work with what works with your brain, okay? So a proportion is set up similar to our conversions, right? Where we have fractions right next to each other. But notice in the middle is not a time sign. It's an equal sign, okay? That's a big difference. So a proportion is saying 7/8 is equal to how many 12ths would be the same conversion, right? So technically there's something called a scale factor, right? 8 times what number would give you 12 is what you're trying to figure out. So this is one way. I'm going to show you that. So when we go like this, we're saying, all right, 8 times what number is going to give me 12 to figure that out. And then I'm going to multiply by that same number. Well, to figure that out, you would go backwards and go, okay, 12 divided by 8, going backwards, is 1.5. This is called the scale factor. All right, so I just went backwards and I did 12 divided by 8 and I got 1.5. Now, this is solving for m. So in order to get what m is, we would do 7 times 1.5, all right? And I know now that that is equal to 10.5 is m. Okay, so that is how we would do it by figuring out the scale factor. Once again, 1.5, and I know this is run out of space, that's called your scale factor. Okay, now there is another way that you can do these proportions by using cross products, okay? So the other way you can do this, and this is going to help us down here when we get to the multi-step ones, okay? You use cross products. So I'm going to rewrite this as 7/8 equals m over 12. To do cross product way, what you would do is you go diagonal. 8 times m, going this way, is equal to 7 times 12. All right? And some of you can skip this first step because you already know what is 7 times 12. Okay? So you know that 8m is equal to 84. So you could skip right to here. Well, what do we do to solve that equation then? If you know 8 times the number is 84, how do we solve for m now? We divide. We divide this by 8 and divide this by 8, and we find out that m equals 10.5. Two different ways to get the same answer. Okay, so press on and clear at the same time. If it says fix on these calculators, press on and clear at the same time, and it should say memory cleared. Okay? All right, now let's try again. So there, again, are two ways that you can do this. I would say, so the directions, I'm sorry, I didn't even read them. It says use the multiplication property. That's our way in purple. All right, that's the multiplication property if specifically we wanted to do that. This one says use the cross products property. But again, I'm going to show you both, okay? So the next one says what's the solution of the proportion 4/3 equals 8 over x. So it's saying 4/3 is equal to 8 what? So the multiplication property, you do this, 4/3. And then you're trying to multiply by something, the scale factor, to get 8 over x. Well, in this case, you have 4 and 8. Sorry for those of you that are watching online, but we are having picture retakes today, so there might be some interruptions. All right, so this one's an easy one. 4 times what number gives you 8? 2. And so doing it this way is kind of easier because to get the bottom then, 3, we have to multiply by the same scale factor of 2. So what must x equal? 6. Then it's done. But it says use the cross products property, right? So in this case, we know x equals 6, but what you would do to do cross products is you set up the proportion as they have it and you multiply across. I always start with the diagonal that has the letter in it. So this diagonal would be 4 and x has the letter in it, right? So 4x, 4 times x equal 8 times 3. And so I'm writing it out, but most of you can skip it and go, oh, that's really 4x equal what? Nope. 24, yep. And then to solve that, right, how would you undo the 4 times x? We would divide. So we divide by 4, and we get the same answer, don't we? X equals 6. Multiplication property is in purple. Cross products property is in black. Same way to get the same answer. Use what works best in your brain, okay? Because they will give you the same answer. Now, here is where it gets a little weird, right? Because in this case, it's a multi-step. You have more than one B in this problem. Not only that, but you also have adds and subtracts and a bunch of different stuff. So your best bet on the ones like this are to use cross products, okay? So let me show you. Now you're like, but there's a B in both sides, so where do I start? It really doesn't matter. I'm going to start going this way. I'm going to start with this side, the B minus 8 and the 4. Now, when you write it, you want to start with the singular number. In this case, it's the 4. And we're going to times it by, since there's a whole equation there, you got to use parentheses. B minus 8. Okay? Now we're going to say equals, and the other side has the same situation, doesn't it? It's got a 5 and a B plus 3. So you start with your singular number of 5, and then parentheses, B plus 3. And now you have what we call a multi-step equation with variables on both sides, which is why we learned this last chapter. Okay, let's distribute. Here we go. 4 times B is 4B. And I'm writing it over here because I know I'm going to need space. And then 4 times negative 8 would give us negative 32 on this side. Equals, now distribute over here. 5 times B is 5B. And 5 times positive 3 is positive 15. And now I have a variable on either side, don't I? Which one do you want me to cancel out? It doesn't really matter, but which one do you want to start with? Okay, let's start with 5b. So I'm going to minus 5b here to cancel it. Where do I need to minus it on the left side? From the 4b, yes. All right, so 4b minus 5b is now negative 1b. Minus 32, bring that down, equal positive 15. Okay, what do I need to cancel out next? What do I do? That's right, add 32, cancel it, add it on this side to keep it balanced, okay? And I'm going to write mine over here. I now have negative 1b equals what? 47. And what's my last step? Divide by negative 1. And what's my solution? B equal negative 47. Okay, so these are all proportions. The top ones just have a singular variable. You can use either one, either find the scale factor, right, and multiply by it, or use cross products. This one, these are really solving linear equations in disguise, kind of, by doing the proportion. All right, the last thing is the story problems. Now, story problems are where students get confused because of the words and because in conversions, we're trying to cancel out stuff, but in proportions, we're trying to line them up. I'll show you. A portable media player, has 2 gigabytes of storage. All right, so 2 gigabytes, and can hold about 500 songs. A similar, and so this word similar means that we are comparing them. We're going to set them equal, all right? But larger media player has 80 gigabytes of storage. About how many songs can the larger media player hold? Now, since we're comparing them, we're not canceling them. It doesn't say convert this, does it? We have to line them up. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we write in our units. So 2 gigabytes holds about 500 songs, is our first media player. Now we're gonna say our larger one is similar. But it's gonna hold more, right? So this one has 80 gigabytes. So we're comparing them. So our 80 gigabytes has to go in the same spot, right? Since I have 2 gigabytes on top, 80 gigabytes has to be on top. And then songs, do we know how many songs this holds then? So that's our X, or our variable. Now, you can solve it either way, right? If we are going to do our multiplication, right? What's our scale factor here? 2 times what number gives us 80? So this is times 40. That's our scale factor. So 500 times 40 gives me how much? 20,000. X equals 20,000 what's? Songs. Do you think it would have worked if I would have done cross multiplication? Yeah. It does, okay? Either way gives you the same thing. And that's our proportion lesson. Good? We're done with the lesson. So we're going to do 2-7 practice today to go with it. And we are going to do, hold on, let me make sure that I have this correct here. We are going to do, I got to circle the one. So I'll put it up here for people who are watching real quick. We're going to do evens through 18, okay? So, and I'll give you guys this paper in a second. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18. We got to do the story problems, 19, 20, 21. Oh, wow, that you can't see that, can you? Sorry about that. So we're going to do evens through 18, then the 3 story problems, and these evens through 18 are fast, right? They're not going to take you a whole lot of time. The story problems might take you a little bit longer, and then we're going to do the entire back, except for not 33, okay? So we're going to do the whole back, because these are the ones that are the newer ones, I would say, and not 33, okay? All right. If you have issues, make sure you email me or come see me.